Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 11th day of February, 2022. It is Friday of the fifth week in Ordinary Time. It is also the day of the optional memorial of Our Lady of Lourdes. Because it's an optional memorial, it is not necessarily recognized as having to be celebrated, but it is becoming known, or has become known, as a World Day of Prayer for the sick and those who suffer from disease. And so as we move from the pandemic, although it still exists to some extent, we remember all those who are still affected by the pandemic on this day of Our Lady of Lourdes. Coming to you from our wetlands. Where are they? There they are. Coming to you from our wetlands on this very, very springy day here in Carolina, although it will not last. It's going to get cold on Sunday. But for now, it is beautiful, and the sky is blue. And you get to see one of our pride and joys here on the campus of St. Francis of Assisi, our wetlands. So on this day, we continue with the second to last time we will hear from the Book of Kings. Here, one of the terrible final notes in the saga of the House of David. Again, now a kingdom that will be divided. The prophet Ahijah, I think his name is, he goes to Jeroboam, who was one of Solomon's sons, who does not like Solomon and who is rising up against him, and so he is given by the prophet 10 pieces of cloth that are ripped from single cloth, because Ahijah is showing that the kingdom is now falling apart because Solomon cannot hold it together. And so these 10 pieces of cloth represent the 10 tribes that will become the kingdom of Israel in the north. And what will happen is that Solomon will be left with the kingdom of Judah in the south, with the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. That, again, this sad ending to this family saga, which has been filled with more tragedy perhaps than it has been with blessings. But it's again because Solomon and David did not always listen to what it is that God wanted them to do in the end. And because of not listening to what God wanted them to do, they have their own consequences to pay for all of this. Again, the larger question always, Israel wanted a human king. They did not want to listen to God. They did not want God to be their king, to be the one who guided, who led them, who ruled them. They wanted someone like everybody else. And again, it does not end up well, and continues not to end up well. The divided kingdom will just continue to destroy Israel's fortunes and lead to more and more exile and pain and suffering. Again, our own human decisions for what we want versus what God wants for us is something that history continues to struggle with. The more that we don't listen to what it is that God wants for us, the more difficult our lives become. But do we risk listening to God and trusting that God knows what is best for us? Constant question that echoes through history. In the Gospel today, the reading from Mark about a man who is deaf and has a speech impediment is healed, but healed away from the crowd so as not to create a spectacle. Jesus tells the man and tells the crowd not to tell anybody about it, and they spread his name far and wide. Again, this raises the kind of question, why is Jesus constantly telling people not to tell that these wonderful things are happening, but why are also the people just filled, with wanting to see magic tricks, wanting to see these great healings, wanting to see these fantastic miracles, and nothing more? Again, this passage ends with the people saying that Jesus has done all things well. Well, he's done all things well because he is entertaining. He has done all things well because, yes, he has healed a few people. But again, when he speaks, when he challenges through his speaking, then people are not going to actually think that Jesus is doing things well, that Jesus is pushing them to think differently, to transformation, to understand themselves and God's relationship with them differently. Sometimes, again, what we like for ourselves is, again, these sense of entertainments and sort of the wow moments in life. But again, the wow moments in life are not the only thing. It is being able to listen to, again, to what this God is saying to us, how this God is speaking to us, and what it is that we can learn and receive from a God who speaks to us out of love, for us to become the people that God has created us to be, and to not fear that becoming. And may the Lord give you his peace.